Hello, welcome to Exposed News Outlet, where we shed light on the topics that matter most. I'm your host, Andrea. Today we're exploring ancient Illuminati, secret societies, and elites that have shaped our reality from behind the curtains, as well as some facts about history and influence, and the New World Order, etc. As they push propaganda and the elites seek to exterminate mass populations in a dark, sinister plot. Also, as we navigate the complexities of our world, it's essential to stay informed and engaged. By subscribing to our channel, enabling notifications, and sharing our content, you're supporting our mission to provide thought-provoking insights and inspire positive change. Thank you for being a part of the community. Also, I'm just starting out and building my platform and still need some new technology as well as some software. For anyone who is able to help out, I will leave a link in the description box below. Thank you, I appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video, my friends. The concept of a new world order has been circulating for decades, and it's rooted in conspiracy theories that suggest a group of powerful elites is working to create a one world government that would control everything and everyone, which is honestly a scary thought, especially when you see what's going on currently today. According to these theories, the elites want to collapse the current banking systems, institutions, and economy, delete the old system, and establish a new one that would only benefit them. This new system would allegedly be an authoritarian autocracy, plutocracy, or oligarchy, where people would have limited rights and freedoms. Some conspiracy theorists believe that this new system would lead to extreme exploitation, where people would be forced to work long hours for minimum wage, for minimal pay. For example, working 160 hours a week for the same amount of money that you'd make working 40 hours. A normal work week is 40 hours currently and has been for many years. And this is also all in Project 2025 spelled out too. So it's more than just conspiracies. I mean, these are actual facts that they're trying to push. It's also worth noting that some of these conspiracy theories deny climate change and other pressing global issues, which could exacerbate problems like famine, poverty, and inequality. However, it's essential to approach these claims with a critical eye, as many of them are unfounded and lack credible evidence. While there are legitimate concerns about income inequality, exploitation, and the concentration of power, it's crucial to separate fact from fiction and seek out reliable sources of information. In terms of the economic shift, some experts suggest that the world is moving towards a multipolar order, where China and the US and the other nations will play important roles. This shift could bring about a new economic opportunities, but it also poses challenges such as potential for the increased competition and economic instability. Ultimately, it's up to each of us to stay informed, think critically, and advocate for policies and practices that promote greater equality, justice, and sustainability. Ancient civilizations and the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are a group of deities from ancient Sumerian mythology and Egyptian as well, believed to have created humans as slave species to mine gold and other precious resources. The Sumerians, who lived in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, around 4000 to 1900 BCE, developed a sophisticated civilization that included advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and architecture. You can actually read, there's like thousands of tablets, the Sumerian tablets, that detail all of this as well. And it's like carved into stone with cuneiform. Was known for its advanced knowledge of mathematics, medicine, and architecture. And they have translations and stuff as well. But the Anunnaki mythology has been linked to other civilizations such as Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans, who all shared similar mythology and symbolic themes. These civilizations worship gods and goddesses associated with the sun, moon, and the planets, and developed complex systems, astrology, and cosmology. Ancient Egyptian civilization and esoteric practices. Ancient Egyptian civilization, which flourished from around 3100 BCE to 30 BCE, but it actually went much longer than that, for tens of thousands of years, actually. A lot longer than it's been documented into modern studies. Egyptian priests and priestesses developed a complex system of spirituality and mysticism, which included the worship of gods, goddesses, the use of magical rituals and spells, and the practice of alchemy. Many of the esoteric practices developed by the ancient Egyptians have been adopted and adapted by modern secret societies and elites. For example, the use of symbolic rituals and regalia, such as the Vatican priests and clergy outfits, staffs, and jewels, have their roots in ancient Egyptian and other esoteric traditions. The Illuminati and secret societies. The Illuminati and a secret society founded in 1776. Interesting that that theme keeps coming up a lot, especially a part of, and I don't even think a lot of them even realize it. The Illuminati, a secret society founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, is often associated with conspiracy theories and esoteric practices. While the original Illuminati was disbanded in 1785, the term has since been used to describe various secret societies and elites who practice esotericism and seek to gain power and control over others. Other secret societies, such as the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, and the Theosophical Society, have also been associated with esoteric practices and the pursuit of spiritual knowledge and power. These societies often use symbolic rituals and regalia, and may practice alchemy, remote viewing, and other forms of higher consciousness education. Elon Musk and transhumanism. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, has been a prominent advocate for transhumanism. The idea that humans can enhance their bodies and minds through technology and artificial intelligence. Musk's Neuralink technology, which involves implanting brain-machine interfaces, BMIs, in humans, has raised concerns about the potential risks and benefits of such technology. I think that the risks outweigh the benefits, especially considering Elon Musk's own mental capacity and derangement and narcissism and wanting to control the world, literally. While Musk's goals may seem altruistic, such as enhancing human cognition and achieving immortality, yeah, that's right. These elites think that they believe that they've achieved immortality, which is... Critics argue that transhumanist agenda is dark and dangerous and could lead to loss of human anatomy and individuality. Which, by the way, I mean, they're literally talking about transgender people and all of this. Transgenders are humans. Like, they're not robots or merged with technology and machine. This man is literally now trying to merge the two, which I don't even. The idea of transferring consciousness into a machine or robot also raises a profound philosophical and ethical questions about the nature of human identity and existence altogether. Behind closed doors, some of the world's most influential elites are discussing radical plans for the future of humanity. They believe that they've found the key to immortality, like I was saying a minute ago, and are exploring ways to transfer human consciousness into machines and vice versa, back and forth, dark, twisted. But also their vision of the future comes with a disturbing caveat. They think that humans are too lazy and that robots are more efficient. In fact, many of these elites are openly discussing replacing human employees with robots, and are using their wealth and influence to make it a reality. It's a chilling vision of a future where humans are no longer needed, and where the wealthy and powerful get to decide what's next for humanity. But one thing's for sure, if we don't start paying attention to these private conversations, we might just wake up one day and find out that the future has already been decided for us. Watch this clip.
This is Trevor Coppola for Anthony J. Hilder. I'm with Deborah Tavares, and we're going to discuss a few topics here.
Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate the opportunity. One of the things that we want to talk about is what we were discussing a little bit ago, and that is the significance of this NASA war document that was found on the NASA website, and the need to urgently get this out in front of as many people as possible because of the content of this document.
So was this document available to everyone, or this was on their actual website and someone found it?
That is correct. It was on the NASA website, and it was a document that actually is a PowerPoint presentation by Dennis Bushnell, the chief NASA scientist at the Langley Center. And it was presented in 2001, July of 2001, just a few months before 9/11. And what brought my attention to it and immediately rang some uncomfortable realizations was when we first came across it. It says on the website, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare circa 2025. And as I decided to just flip through it quickly to see what it was about, I was a little stunned on page 4. It said, the presentation is based in all cases upon existing data, trends, analysis technologies, no pixie dust. And the entire premise of the document, or the PowerPoint, is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. So I immediately saw a conflict between future and now. And I thought, what are they covering up? Because that was a definite cover-up. And then I started to continue looking through the document with shock. And that's why we're talking right now, because I think most people would be shocked to find on page 93.
So who wrote this NASA document, and was this intentional? Did they want the public to see this, do you think? Or?
Well, again, the Illuminati, the most wealthy, rich men on the face of the planet, always telegraph everything that they're going to do. So the fact that it was on the NASA website, it was certainly available to the public, but did they see it? Obviously not. Because had they looked at this document, you would know about it right now, and we don't. And that's the purpose of this discussion, is for people to know about this document. Again, the conflict between the future and the fact that they said it was a current reality in 2001 of July when this was actually presented. And what it said, which was quite shocking, on page 93, it said, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. And that is an unbelievable statement. Then it's followed up by saying terror attacks within the continental United States using binary biologicals take down critical infrastructure. They are going to use an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse. They're going to use radiation frequencies against our brains, etc., and conduct serious psy-war and collateral damage and exploitation. On this same page 93, they say exploit CNN syndrome. Now, CNN, of course, is the network, the news media network, propaganda machine, and was set up by the CIA. You can watch the movie called Psy-War on stopthecrime.net for all the background information on CNN. Very, very interesting information. Then you go on and you read that on page 66, they say increasingly critical are human limitations and human downsides. Humans are too large, humans are too heavy, too tender, humans are too slow, both physically and mentally, and we require huge logistical trains, meaning we cost way too much money to maintain, and humans have rapidly decreasing to negative value. Can you even believe this? I mean, you're hearing this, and it's got to be rather shocking coming off of a NASA website, particularly when some of the agencies that are involved are the U.S. Air Force, DARPA, the CIA, the FBI, Southern Command, Atlantic Command, Australian Department of Defense, and other agencies. This is the corporation's agencies. We are USA Inc. We're no longer under a constitution as proclaimed in the Iron Mountain Report, which everyone should read. On stopthecrime.net, you can download it not only as the document, but you can watch the documentary, which I highly recommend. You will see how the stealth and deceptive, incrementally positioned attacks upon the Constitution have rendered us now a corporation. And we no longer have a legitimate government. We are being controlled by corporations and banks that are posing as a legitimate government, and they're not. We wouldn't have a legitimate government with the war machine stating what they were going to do on the continental United States to all the people. And this is not just in the United States. This is a global planned attack and assault with technologies beyond most people's comprehension. Everyone is buying guns and ammunition, and they don't realize that the beam weapons, for example, on page 45, beam weapons increasingly prevalent. This is how they're going to attack. They talk also about, on page 9, this is very interesting and horrifying. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution. They're going to direct evolution. They believe, the bankers, the global elites, believe that they have accomplished immortality. And they're doing that, again, keeping in mind that this entire document is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. They've already mapped our brains. We've just recently heard that they can transfer a human brain into machinery. So whenever they tell us that this is a new scientific discovery, we know it's been decades and decades prior to us ever finding out about these things. And they also talk about microdust as a weapon. They say that this micron-sized mechanized dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs, the dust mechanically bores into the lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. They say it's a completely new type of warfare, and it is legal. It's legal. This is what they're going to do to all the humans on the face of this planet. It's all legal. And then they talk about how the use of frequencies will be used in warfare. And we know, for example, the smart meters that are being deployed around the globe, the replacement of our electric meters, which will also and does include the replacement of all of our gas meters, and our water meters as well, and will be connected to our food supply when they collapse the occurrency and they issue energy allowances, and that will all be controlled through the metering system. But they talk about the use of low frequencies, microwave frequencies, and they mention in this NASA document the U.S. Army report. The U.S. Army report is on our website, smartmetersmurder.com. It's about a 20-page Army document that talks about the use of frequencies to target the enemy. We're the enemy. And they say 100% of the human population will be affected by these frequencies. Some will be the canaries in the coal mine, which is a term that they've been using as people have been dropping like flies. People are experiencing all kinds of health maladies. Generally, it starts with the ringing of the ears, heart palpitations, skin rashes, inability to sleep through the night. And what they're doing is they're jamming our immune systems with these frequencies.
So how do the elite shield themselves from their own weapons?
Well, that's a really good question. And some of the information that we've come across is, of course, they have methods far ahead of anything that we have available to ourselves, such as cancer cures. They don't get cancer. There's chip mechanisms that we understand can fend off certain frequency attacks. We also know that they're interested in transhumanism. So much of what they're doing globally, they're interested in. And to what extent they're affected by all of the chemtrails and all of the nanofibers that are being dropped, which is phase 1 of the first protocol. It all lines up. Everything lines up. You connect the dots. You see the NASA war document. Not only does it talk about the effects of frequencies and how it will be used, they acknowledge that it will interfere with our performance, that it will cause seizures. They acknowledge this in this document. It is no longer a debate about smart meters. We don't need any more scientists or doctors saying people are getting sick. This is the intention. So we have to stop looking for more verifiable proof that people are becoming sick. This is the goal. This is the absolute goal. It's incarceration, it is enslavement, and it is depopulation, and it is massive mind control. The frequencies have multiple purposes.
What do you think the solution is to all of this multi-level attack that's been going on for a very long time?
Well, I think the solution is that people need to become educated as rapidly as possible. And there are documents that are, for example, the Silent Weapons Quiet Wars document. It's a 41-page document. It's on our website. This lays out, it's an operations, research, and technical manual. This document was the 1954 Bilderberg policy at the first Bilderberg meeting. And this laid out the strategy to control the human population. And again, I can't stress enough that everyone should read this, because they talk about how they talk about that this document should not be released to the people because it is a declaration of war.
You can't keep fighting fires. You have to go after the arsonists. And that's what you're pointing out, is the people that are responsible. And everything we see out there, what they're spraying and why are they spraying, nobody's talking about the conspiracy itself. This is a war against the people, and this, you've got a hold of those specific people, and that's why that's valuable. They're killing us.
That's exactly right. And this is their war plan. This is the war plan. So we have to go to the war plan. This is only 41 pages. You take out the diagrams and you've got 36 pages. And it's not hard to read. They say that it's the silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical developed under the military management in England during World War II. The original purpose of this research was to study strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with objective effectiveness used in initiating military resources against foreign enemies. And they go on to talk about how they came across technologies that they had. Oh, in 1952, the grant period terminated, and the high-level meeting of the elite was held to determine the next phase of the social operations research. The Harvard project had been very fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of some of the results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic engineering, studies of structure of the American economy. And they talk about how it was engineered in the last half of the 1940s. The new, quiet war machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. So this document talks about a combination of irresistible attacks upon humanity and how they will control humanity. Politically, they talk about how they set up the political system, right and left, so that we would feel our grievances were aired and our frustrations could come out. But the bankers were behind everyone who was elected, and they laugh at us. They laugh at us. The very, very last, and I'll go to this right now because we'll come back to the document itself, but the very last statement in this document, it says, Factor 6, cattle. Those who will not use their brains are no better off than those who have no brains. And so this mindless school of jellyfish, father, mother, son, and daughter, become useful beasts of burden, or trainers of the same. So what they say in this document is they will dole out poisonous foods. It's not what we need, but it's what we want, and those that decide to eat these foods will have the consequences of that. They tell us how they set up all the social engineering, how they devise the family, how they crumble the family, how they set up the war machine, how they influence thinking in the family unit to allow the family to give up their children to war for a rich man's fodder. It's a document that discusses the artificial womb. They believe that people need to feel protected and that the elites are going to serve as the womb for protection of the people, that they'll have a place to take cover and hide from the reality of life because we just are not capable of managing the reality of life. So they will set up that artificial womb. It says, the objective of these artificial wombs is to provide a stable environment for both stable and unstable activity, to provide a shelter for the evolutionary process of growth and maturity, survival, to provide security for freedom, and to provide defensive protection for offensive activity. And they say that from the time a person leaves its mother's womb, in every effort is directed towards building, maintaining, and withdrawing into artificial wombs various sorts of substitute protective devices or shells. So they set themselves up to protect us, to keep us crippled, to numb us down with foods so that our pineal gland is interfered with. We're never able to reach our higher consciousness. And right now, the massive fluoridation across the United States is to collapse the ability for us to think. They're shutting us down right now.
They take your baby and make it Rosemary's Baby.
That's exactly right.
It's very similar to The Matrix, which was based on a DARPA document. I mean, it is similar, isn't it? It's problem, reaction, solution, the same way they always operate. So I guess the best thing to do is wake everyone up and hope that a grassroots movement can change it. Do you think revolution would be necessary at some point, or could it change without that? What do you think?
Well, I think we need a revelation, not a revolution. A revolution would only bring in martial law, in the opinion of what we are looking at, would bring in martial law. It would also allow people to be targeted with the weaponry that they cannot wait to roll out on us. You add the drones, you add the microdust, you add in the beam weapons that they tell us they have. They also have a blast wave accelerator. And when you look at the population of the United States, the majority of the population lives along the coastlines. And the blast wave accelerator was a tidal wave invention that the United States dreamt up with the Soviet Union back in the 40s. Actually, it was going to be used in World War II instead of the bombs, but they decided to use the bombs instead. And the blast wave accelerator exploits the methane deposits on the seabed and causes a fingerprintless, plumeless tidal wave on low-lying areas around the perimeter of any country that
Right
they
now
just.
you've got your weaponized Gestapo meter that keeps track of every house and every movement and every bit of energy that you're already doing and can report back to whoever is observing. So we're virtually in a concentration camp right now.
Yes,
in the meantime, the food supplies are being reduced. As you're mentioning in your other interview, how the dams are being taken out, the food. I mean, it's so obvious that the federal government coming in and wanting your child even at earlier and earlier ages, every place, everywhere, and it's based on the foundation of climate change, which you mentioned. You might want to get into that and your Iron Mountain.
That's absolutely true. All the documents, the Iron Mountain document, even the NASA war document, talks about there are too many people using too much stuff, and the Earth cannot support this. And they've come up with the fear-based, scientific, fraudulent information that people are now accepting. They're rewriting history and they're rewriting science with the idea that people are using too much resources. We have to reduce CO2 and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And that is flying through every city across the world right now. It's written into all local government documents, and cities now are, well, California, for example, with the CARB initiative, where we have to actually pay for the air we breathe, and we're taxed for the air. It's like the fiat money. We've accepted false-backed money, which they tell us in the Iron document, or in the Silent Weapons document, one of the reasons that they send our men and women off to war is to reduce the population, because they have stolen from them. They've taken real labor service in exchange for illegitimate false fiat money. So they have to eliminate the creditors. That's another aspect of war, is to reduce the creditors. But it's all based on the false pollution that is not false. They've created the pollution. When you look at the Iron Mountain document, you will see the methods in which they were going to create pollution. They even say that they will deforest us, and they're doing that with the chemtrail, the secret chemtrail or geoengineering program or weather modification. Actually, that program has multiple layers. Not only does it increase weather events, we've just experienced some horrific events here in the United States with massive tornadoes that just destroyed a number of cities in Oklahoma. We're being hit globally. They're hitting our food supply. It does reduce our food supply. It will increase the cost of our food. It's changing the pH in the soil, which will then fit to the prescribed Monsanto mega corporation food takeover of the globe. That is the intention of Monsanto, is global food domination. They have the seeds. The seeds will grow in the polluted soil that they are creating. This is all by design. So what do we do about this, you asked? We first must become educated. And I would say that the quickest way for people to become educated is look at these very simple source documents. Look at the Quiet Weapons Silent War document. Look at the Iron Mountain document and the New World Order Exposed 1969. They're all on our website, stopthecrime.net. Of all the research we have done, if you just get those basic documents understood, if everyone understands the fraud, then we will be able to eliminate this. We don't have to go on with this fraud. We do not. And people keep saying, well, there's more of us than them. Well, that may be true. But sadly, now, there are technologies that are so unbelievable that people won't even realize what hit them. And that is the strategy of the future wars and the wars that we're facing in our country. But I would say everyone needs to look at the NASA document. You need to move from the illusion, the non-reality that you are living in. You need to move into a new reality formed by the truths that these documents convey. So that then from those realities, then you can look at solutions. You can't shoot from the hip and look for solutions if you have not learned who's doing this to us, how they're doing this to us, and the documents that tell us how they are doing this to us.
Like the Truman Show, which was designed to create a false reality for entertainment, the false reality we have now is designed to kill us. This is a war against the people. This is why that tabloid came out, Prepare to Die. And they're doing it in so many deliberate ways in which those documents show that it's been in the works for a long time. And you not only see the individuals, which can be kind of identified with the Bilderbergers, the Trilats, and Skull and Bones. They are in the saddle. They are the ones determining policy, the scientific advisor to the president of the John P. Holdren in charge of the chemtrails. We have MITRE with the former head of the CIA directing all these branches of government. We've got guys like Leon Panetta, which is the head of the CIA and the Department of Defense, moving our armies over to NATO and moving without a constitution. This is a direct war against us, and we see people dying like flies now. And like you said, it doesn't have fingerprints on it because of the methods that they're using, but it's as real as people getting strokes and cancer and autism and Alzheimer's. It's so clear. I mean, the stats, the mathematics prove the point. And so they have to know, people have to know what's going on to strategize to fight it. And they can, because the only way they're getting away with this is by the lies. And if you succumb to the mass media, the three networks, and the two wire services, you're never going to get out of it.
Well, it actually says in the document, in the NASA war document, that they will use mass media propaganda. That is prevalent.
CNN syndrome, is that?
Yeah, that's one of the things that they call it. But they're literally going through this document. Oh, they're going to also use explosive dust opportunities. They talk about how, the dust will infiltrate deeply into buried and other such targets. They're saying in here too, if you move, they can see you and you're dead. So the technology, sensors in everything. There is an amazing mission statement that I found on PSI technology out of the Carnegie Mellon Institute. And the mission statement stated that they were changing the global infrastructure to that of computers and technology, and that would include our entire structure, not only utilities, but civil, government policies. And what is also very interesting, we went to Al Gore's recent book review. He wrote a book called The Future, and he talks about how artificial intelligence is going to take over, and that we're going to see changes within the United States that have not been seen in 500 years. And he talks about how it's just not efficient to continue with humans. The same thing. These all tie in. They all tie in. We have a think tank that is plotting and scheming against humanity because they believe that it's too frail. And they also talk about the U.S. Brain Project, and it begun in the 90s. They say that it was funded by 16 organizations across 5 agencies. NIH, which of course is the National Health Institute, the Department of Defense, NASA, and the Department of Energy. And they talk about how they have over 10,000 individual presentations at annual meetings for the Society for Neuroscience. And essentially, they have redesigned humanity. And there is a fascinating life story of a fourth-generation clone called Michael Prince. And that is on our website under the NASA document link, and I urge everybody to listen to this interview with Michael Prince. He was killed in 2011, and he is a fourth-generation clone. The levels of technology, the length of time that they've had technologies are unbelievable. What they also say in the Iron Mountain documentary is that they will control the educational system, that they will replace the education system with computers. They're saying that in the NASA document too. Everything will be telecommuting, teleshopping, teleentertainment, teletravel, teleeducation. This way they can rewrite history. Everything will be on Kindle, and it'll be very easy to change books, to change the language. Recently, I was listening to a weather report, and the reporter said, it will be sunny tomorrow. But I'm calling sunshine now a soft sunshine, because the sun doesn't shine like it used to. I mean, that is what I'm saying. The reporter didn't say that. But the reporter now is saying a soft sunshine. They're rewriting our definition of what a sunny day is supposed to look like, because we're under the constant vellum of this secret, non-existent atmospheric poisoning of our skies. So they're rewriting our vocabulary. They're rewriting everything about us. And they're keeping us so sick from the fluoride, from the aspartame in the food, all of the dyes and chemicals on everything. I mean, even the receipts that we get from filling our cars with gas are poisonous. We shouldn't be touching them. And so we need to navigate. I say that life on a daily basis is like trying to walk through a landmine field. And if you get to the other side at the end of the day, you've made good choices, because they've certainly put and placed landmines in our lives.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid, really. I mean,
The impact that it's having on our lives, that we should be sitting here right now having this conversation because of what has been orchestrated against us. Our futures are being determined for us. Our life spans are being decided upon.
it's fascinating information. So the best way to get access to all this is stopthecrime.net.
StopTheCrime.net. It links to our other websites as well, which is smartmetersmurder.com. We have invaluable YouTube videos up on smartmetersmurder.com. There's a series done by Barry, B-A-R-R-I-E, Trower, T-R-O-W-E-R, who is a scientist out of the UK, and talks about the weaponization of frequencies as it relates specifically to the wireless, and in particular, the vast deployment throughout America and other countries as well of the cell phone towers. They're erupting everywhere, and they're disguising them as trees, they're disguising them in church steeples. Even when you drive through the desert, they're disguised into yuccas, and that is a cell phone tower. They're also, this is very interesting, they're putting them in mobile oil signs in gas stations, so you don't even see them. Now, when you look, if you're really aware of spotting cell phone towers, my grandchildren can spot them a mile away. But you can go to shopping centers where they have landscaping and the uplights amongst the landscaping, and you'll see many uplight standards that are disguised cell phone towers. And you don't think of it. You're just thinking that it's lights within the parking lot, and they're actual cell phone towers.
And they're in church steeples as well, aren't
Steeples.
they? Yeah.
Yes, they are. And they're paying schools to put them on their campuses. Right now, there's a newly discovered cancer cluster at San Diego State University, and there have been a number of students and faculty that have gotten brain tumors. So we are in a takedown of frequencies admitted by this document. We have the proof, we have the military, the agencies that admit to this. We don't need to prove the deaths on the campuses near towers, because it says towers will be used on page 98. It says that towers will be used to emit frequencies. So again, this is their document. This is what they tell us on page 98. A typical scenario: takedown of the U.S. by 10 people and $10 million. Binary biologicals, imported vitamins and clothing, the food supply will be poisoned, terror attacks with vaccines and with viruses. They talk about our railroads will be attacked, selective anti-personnel with radiation frequencies, microwaves from the towers. The water supply will be contaminated via intercontinental unmanned vehicles, accompanied by serious psy-war, and that's the CNN syndrome. So they're telling us here how easy it would be to take down the United States with these new technologies. We've got to expose this.
Yeah, thanks so much for all this information, Deborah Tavares, and we will check out your website and try to make this go viral and get it out there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
The 1775 Bible, also known as the Bible of the Resolution, was indeed published during the American Revolution. Regarding the calendar system, ancient calendars, including some biblical calendars, used a 13-month system with 28 days in each month. This system was used by various cultures, including the ancient Egyptians and Hebrews. The 13-month calendar was also used in some early American colonies, including the Pennsylvania colony, which was founded by William Penn in 1681. Penn's calendar system was based on a 13-month year, with the first month beginning on March 1st. It's worth noting that the modern Gregorian calendar, which is widely used today, was introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory VIII. However, it wasn't widely adopted until the 18th century, and some cultures continued to use their traditional calendars. The concept of the New World Order has been discussed by various thinkers and politicians throughout history, often in the context of promoting global cooperation and peace. However, some conspiracy theories have distorted this concept to imply a sinister plot for global domination. While there are some interesting historical connections and parallels between the Illuminati, the 1775 Bible, and the concept of the New World Order, it's essential to approach these concepts with critical and a nuanced perspective, recognizing both the factual information and the speculative theories surrounding these subjects.
All right, guys, so we're here. I got a very special visitation pass to the Vatican, so I can go over my 1775 and 1776 New Testament Bible. I want you to see some of the details I was talking about the other day, the 13 months. I want you to see the first page where there's a really nice inscription here to Prince James, not King James. plus the original owners. This Bible right here was owned by a gentleman who was part of the Revolutionary War. And I'll tell you the story about it as well tonight. So I actually had a few people say that the way I handled this Bible, I made it look like it was a copy, it's disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. This Bible right here, if you see how thick it is, it's not made like the new Bibles out of thin Bible paper. This is real paper. This is like hardcore paper. So it's durable, and it's lasted since 1775. The cover has come off, unfortunately, so let me put that down. And I'm just going to bring you through a couple of the details in here that I think are really amazing. This right here is the most important page because it's the main page of the Bible. I'll let you see it right here. The Holy Bible containing the Old and New Testaments, translated out of the tongues, translated out of the original tongues, and with the former translations diligently compared and revised. By His Majesty's special command, appointed to be read in churches, Cambridge, 1775. So that's page 1. But I want you to see what I think is even more important, which is this right here. This right here, let's see if I can just hold it for you guys to read this. But look at that main title. To the Most High and Mighty Prince James, by the grace of God, King of Great Britain, France and Ireland, defender of the faith and country. So cool. So that's the first page of the Bible after you get through that 1775 main section. So this is what I really want to draw your attention to. This is the New Testament, as you see, translated out of the original Greek. The New Testament of our Savior and Lord Jesus Christ. And then look at below. Same thing, Cambridge, but it says it was actually printed a year later in 1776. But let me draw your attention to this over here. The original owners of this Bible, Stephen Howell was born October 23rd, 1744. Eunice Howell as well, 1744. And then this is their children here. Silas, 1778. Oh, that was 1773 as well. And Lewis Howell was born 76, and then Stephen Howell in 1784. I did the research, and I actually found the owner of my original Bible. His name's Stephen Howell. If you look him up on Google, you'll find he was born in 1744, if you put this date in there. October 23rd, 1744, Stephen Howell. And you will see he stood beside George Washington and he fought for this country. This is a patriot's Bible, and I have it. So let me go to the end here where we were looking at the months of the year. Here we go, table of time and days of the week. Let's take a look at this together because I had a few questions on what the names of the months were and how 2 months could be 1 month. I'm just going to let it sit here for you to read. And as you go one by one, you realize that they're sharing months to call these months. Now, what is intercalary? Because Vader, 13, intercalary, maybe that's the 1 day. Ooh, it's not 13 months, guys. It's 12 months, 28 days apiece, and then Vader is the 1 day a year to get us to 365. I think that's what that is. All right, guys, there's so much to unravel here. So it looks to me like they use the table of time as a zodiac. So each month is really 2 months, just like the zodiac. But what's more interesting is I think I was incorrect. I believe the 13th month, which you see there as Vader, what I think that is you have 12 months at 28 days. Vader is not the 13th month. Vader is the 365th day each year. It's the first day of the year. It is April 1st. But why is it April 1st? And why is Vader April 1st? Because that is the day Jesus was born. April 1st. April Fool's Day. They really did make fools out of us, didn't they? Leave a comment below, let me know what you think. Do you think I'm right about this? That Vader is a single day, and it's the 1 day a year that starts it all off, the first day of the year. Vader, Father's Day. Well, Jesus' birthday. So basically what we have here is a really cool old Bible. 1775 Old Testament, 1776 New Testament. Let me know if there are any passages you'd like me to look at in here, Mandela effect stuff, whatever. I'm happy to continue the research on my Bible from 1775. Share.
Freemasonry Freemasonry is the fraternal organization that oriented in the 16th century. With roots in medieval stonemasonry, the organization is known for its symbolic rituals, moral teachings, and philanthropic activities. Freemasons aim to promote personal growth, self-improvement, and community service. The Illuminati and the 33rd Degree Freemasons are two organizations that have been linked to various conspiracy theories, including claims of manipulating agendas and events. While some of these claims are unfounded, there are historical connections between these organizations and significant events in American history. The Illuminati was a secret society founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, a German philosopher and lawyer. The organization's original goal was to promote reason, science, and progress. However, the Illuminati was disbanded in 1785, and its legacy has been subject to numerous conspiracy theories. Historical connections. There are historical connections between the Illuminati, Freemasonry, and significant events in American history. Number one, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Some conspiracy theories suggest that the Illuminati or Freemasons were involved in Lincoln's assassination. However, there is no credible evidence to support these claims. Number two, the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Similar conspiracy theories surround JFK's assassination, with some claiming that the Illuminati, Freemasons, or other secret societies were involved. Again, there is no credible evidence to support these claims. However, again, they operate in secret, so it's kind of hard to find credible claims. But number three, influence on American politics. Some researchers argue that the Illuminati and Freemasons have influenced American politics, particularly in the 18th and 19th centuries. For example, some founding fathers, such as Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, were known to have Masonic connections. Criticisms and controversies. While some conspiracy theories surrounding the Illuminati and Freemasons are unfounded, there are legitimate criticisms and controversies surrounding these organizations. Number one, secrecy and lack of transparency. Both the Illuminati and Freemasonry have been criticized for their secretive nature, which can foster mistrust and speculation. Number two, elitism and exclusivity. Freemasonry in particular has been accused of promoting elitism and exclusivity, with some critics arguing that the organization prioritizes the interests of its wealthy and influential members over those of the general public. Structure and degrees. Freemasonry has a hierarchy structure, with members progressing through various degrees. The three main degrees are, number one, entered apprentice. The first degree, which introduces new members to the principles of Freemasonry. Number two, fellowcraft. The second degree, which focuses on moral and philosophical teachings. Number three, master mason. The third degree, which represents the highest level of attainment in the craft. Symbolism and rituals. Freemasonry is rich in symbolism, drawing from ancient mythologies, alchemy, and esoteric traditions. Rituals and ceremonies are an essential part of the Masonic practice, often involving dramatic reenactments of mythological stories or moral lessons. Connections to the Illuminati. The Illuminati. Some researchers suggest that Freemasonry and the Illuminati have historical connections. Number one, shared membership. Some notable figures such as Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson were both Freemasons and Illuminati figures. Number two, symbolic overlap. Both Freemasonry and the Illuminati use similar symbols, such as the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, and the hexagram. Number 3, philosophical alignment. Both organizations emphasize the importance of reason, individualism, and human progress. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, designed by Auguste Bartholdi and built by Gustave Eiffel, was a gift from the people of France to the people of the United States. The statue was dedicated on October 28, 1886. Some suggest that the Statue of Liberty was a gift from the ancient Illuminati, because there's actually a nameplate on it that says that, the Freemasons and the Illuminati. Number 1, symbolic significance. The statue's design and symbolism are often interpreted as representing the principles of freedom, democracy, and enlightenment, which are also core values of Freemasonry and the Illuminati. Number 2, Masonic connections. The statue's designer, Bartholdi, was a Freemason, and the statue's pedestal was designed by American architect Richard Morris Hunt, who was also a Freemason. While these connections are intriguing, it's essential to note that the Statue of Liberty was a gift from the people of France to the people of the United States, and its symbolism and design reflect the values of freedom and democracy shared by both nations. The actual meaning is meant to mean enlightenment, as Benjamin Franklin and some of the founding fathers were spiritual, which is why they escaped the religious persecution of Europe. The Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove, a private campground in California, has been the subject of numerous conspiracy theories, including claims of dark satanic rituals and corruption among the elite, particularly the Republican Party, where it's even been said that they actually pick who's going to represent the party at this place among the elites. While some of these claims are exaggerated or unfounded, it's true that the Bohemian Grove has a long history of hosting powerful men, including politicians, businessmen, and artists. The Grove is owned by Bohemian Club, a private gentlemen's club founded in 1872. Every year, the club hosts a 2-week encampment at the Grove featuring theatrical performances, lakeside talks, and other activities. Some critics have accused the club of promoting elitism, sexism, and environmental degradation. Regarding the claims of satanic rituals, there is no credible evidence to support the idea that the members of the Bohemian Club pray to a demon named Malik. However, the club does have a tradition of performing theatrical rituals, including the cremation of care, which involves burning an effigy of care to symbolize the abandonment of worldly concerns. And it does take a dark, and you can actually even hear in this video that, because one day Alex Jones actually got into quite a bit of trouble for sneaking onto the property and recording, and it was definitely quite alarming. It's also worth noting that the Bohemian Grove has been associated with some significant historical events, including a 1942 meeting that helped plan the Manhattan Project. However, this doesn't necessarily imply that the club is involved in any nefarious activities. In terms of the broader issue of the elite corruption and disinformation, it's certainly true that powerful individuals and organizations have been known to use their influence and promote their own interests and discredit their opponents. The case of climate change is a notable example, where some billionaire oil tycoons have been accused of funding disinformation campaigns to undermine the scientific consensus of climate change. Overall, While the Bohemian Grove is certainly an exclusive and influential organization, it's essential to approach all claims about its activities with a critical and nuanced perspective. Although the Owl of Bohemia, or Moloch, a 45-foot tall stone owl, which the real Moloch is actually a bull, but this figure is an owl. Moloch is a biblical reference to an ancient deity associated with child sacrifice, ironically. So it is kind of alarming, especially considering this is what they also accuse the Democrats of, and typically these are Republican meetings, I want to add. Moloch at Bohemian Grove. The Moloch owl statue at Bohemian Grove serves as a symbol of wisdom and insight. However, others have speculated that the owl's significance, linking it to occult practices or even satanic rituals. Origins and symbolism. The owl statue was designed by a sculptor and Bohemian Club member Haig Patigian and was constructed in the 1920s. According to the Bohemian Club, the owl represents wisdom, intuition, and sharp insight. Rituals and performances. During the annual Bohemian Grove encampment, members participate in theatrical performances and rituals, including cremation of care ceremony. This ceremony involves burning an effigy of care to symbolize the abandonment of worldly concerns. However, there is no credible evidence to suggest that these rituals involve human sacrifices. They do actually, however, imitate it, though it's kind of dark. Allegations surrounding Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is a private campground in California owned by the Bohemian Club, an all-male private club founded in 1872. Every year, like I said, it hosts a 2-week encampment at the Grove featuring theatrical performances, lakeside talks, and other activities. Allegations of dark rituals. Some conspiracy theories claim that the cremation of care ceremony is actually a dark ritual involving human sacrifice, worship of Moloch, and other occult practices. However, there is no credible evidence to support these claims that they do worship them. There are videos that have been, including the one of Alex Jones's, that do depict some dark practices, so it is kind of alarming. Allegations of humiliation rituals. Some allegations also claim that men dress in drag as part of their humiliation rituals at Bohemian Grove. And there are actually even pictures that have surfaced of this as well. Investigation and controversy in 2000. In 2000, Alex Jones, a conspiracy theorist, infiltrated the Bohemian Grove and filmed the cremation of care ceremony. Jones claimed that the ceremony was a dark ritual involving worship of Moloch. And from what I saw, it did appear that he was actually telling the truth for once. And a lot of these elites have dark mental illness and, sadly, a lot of money and power and influence. And they use it to oppress and push discrimination and even genocide. Watch this clip.
Sensitivity equals poverty.
Merry Christmas to you too, and all you poor out there, you know. And we're gonna show. That's pan down. That's what Christmas is supposed to look like, you poor. And if it doesn't look like it, there's about 300 presents here. If something ain't right, if your Christmas doesn't look like it.
No, I don't work. Yeah, I live in Camp Meeker.
Oh, you live there?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Did you ever watch the cremation of care?
No.
What'd you do at the?
I just worked there.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you never saw him march around in the red robes and
No.
Oh, really? That doesn't go on.
But yeah, I get it.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't know. We always hear there's like big, fat, rich guys with prostitutes there.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the owl and the rituals?
I don't know anything about it.
Never heard about the rituals?
Rituals.
Ritual
no.
killing of a human sacrifice of a human?
Nope. Never heard of it.
What would you think if that was going on?
I think it's pretty weird. Wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, it is our government after all.
What'd you do, work there?
Worked there, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful area?
Yeah, yeah, very beautiful. It's got big trees.
Have you ever been there for the cremation of care?
No.
So you've never been there for the rituals?
No.
You ever heard about them?
Yes.
What have you heard they do, sir?
Nothing. They got that tree that looks like an owl.
Tree that looks like an owl?
Tree or rock, it's a carving, or it's where the stage is.
But have you heard what they do during that?
No, I have no idea what they do during
What would you say if we told you they burn a human being in effigy? They don't really do it. They burn it in effigy.
I don't know what that means.
Well, they have like a dummy that looks like a person under a black blanket.
Huh?
They take it up there and burn it.
Oh, I don't know.
Pretty weird.
Huh?
Pretty weird.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Here's just one of many signs sporting French with skulls adorned with other trappings of death. We also saw signage with Latin and other ancient languages. Here you can see the bottom of the stone owl with the altar and the eternal flame, a Aladdin lamp style urn that continually burns year around, we're told. Keep in mind the scale of the idol compared to those giant redwood trees. It's at least 45 feet tall. This is America, and it's been going on for 120 plus years in Northern California. This is not some new fad. We're talking about something deadly serious with its roots in ancient history.
I'd like to make a disclaimer up front and in the beginning. This is not an atheist rant because I'm not an atheist. But what I have stated for a very, very long time, the person that you are saying is God in here is not God, is not the creator of the universe. One of the things that they like to say in church, God is good all the time. He's the same. In the beginning, he's the same as he is now today. He's never changed. Well, let's look at what this biblical text has to say, or rather, what God has to say. Ephesians 6:5. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Now let's think about this for a minute. You're an all-knowing, all-loving God, creator of a universe, and literally can create planets with just spoken word, create living things with spoken word, but all of a sudden, you can't say slavery don't exist. You can't say, I don't want slavery to ever exist in my universe. I cast it out of my universe. The thought will never appear in anyone's mind. You can't do that? So what does it mean? What this means is, you gotta remember, the Bible was written by what? People, human beings. They're trying to say that this thing was orchestrated by the God that created the universe. No, it's much deeper and darker than that. Now, the last time I checked, fear and love don't really go together. They just don't go together. My hypothesis is that most people become religious, in this particular case, Christianity, because they want to protect their asses. They don't want to burn in this quote unquote lake of fire. But why would this all-knowing and all-loving God want you to be fearful of your master and accept this slavery? But this is the creator of the universe. And you guys wonder where all this slavery came from. You think white people invented slavery? White people didn't invent no damn slavery, because these people who were doing this foolishness were not white. Romans 6:16. Don't you know that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey? Whether you are slaves to sin, which leads to death, or to obedience, which leads to righteousness. They just love slaves in this book, don't they? And they want you to be damn obedient. You better be obedient. 1 Corinthians 7:22. And remember, if you were a slave when the Lord called you, you are now free in the Lord. Oh, how nice of you. I can still be a slave, but as long as I'm calling on the Lord and believing in the Lord, I'm the slave in the physical body, but my mind can be free, but my body can never be free. And if you were free when the Lord called you, you are now a slave of Christ. Oh, why, thank you. I can now be a slave of Christ as well. Come on. This is complete foolishness. If you think this is the creator of the universe doing this, if you really truly in your heart believe that sincerely, then you've been fooled to the highest level.
Many claim that to be a slave of God is to serve God in the spiritual sense, a state of obedience that is self-inflicted. But let's consider the historical context. The Mesopotamian texts, which predate the Bible, offer striking similarities to biblical narratives. For instance, the story of Noah in the Bible parallels Mesopotamian flood accounts. In the Epic of Atrahasis, Enki warns Atrahasis of a flood planned by Enlil, instructing him to build an ark, much like the biblical Noah. Also in the Atrahasis, humans were created as workers, literal slaves for the gods. Stephanie Dalley, a British scholar of the ancient Near East and fellow of the Institute for Ancient and Middle Eastern Studies, explains that the text states, "Create primeval man so that he may bear the yoke, the work of Enlil. Let man bear the load of the gods." Atrahasis Epic, Tablet 1. This passage implies that humans were made to relieve the gods of their labor. Similarly, in the Enuma Elish it states, "Enki created mankind, on whom he imposed the service of the gods, and set the gods free." Enuma Elish, Tablet 6. These stories suggest that biblical terms like slave could reflect literal ancient practices, not just spiritual metaphors. Could this influence our understanding of certain biblical passages? Was humanity engineered as a slave species to toil the earth for their Anunnaki masters? Is there a true God, the creator of the cosmos and everything therein?
I believe that there's a God, and I believe that there's a creator of this universe, because the science proves that we're living in a creation. The science proves that we ourselves are a creation. However, the one in this book, that ain't it. Not even close. What you're looking at here is a hodgepodge of recycled texts and scripts and papyruses from all over the world that have been remixed and remixed again and contorted to be able to utilize to control the masses and collect a lot of money. And also keep a lot of slaves for a lot of free labor, because free labor is really important in ancient times. You know what the Romans used to do? This is even during the Roman Catholic era. In the beginning, when they merged with the Christians and said, look, we're gonna just adopt this Christianity thing because y'all are fighting against us too damn much. Let's just take this and wrap it into our paganism and make it into one religion and collect money from everybody and make them bring us all their offerings and all their fresh harvest so we don't gotta go hunting for food. To bring this stuff to the front steps, your best offerings, we want it because we gotta put that in our storehouses because we hungry and we ain't gonna do no work. You're gonna bring it to us and we're gonna tell you that the blessings are coming from up above. Leviticus 25:44. However, you may purchase a male and female slave from among the nations around you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, more collusion with slave masters, more owning of slaves, more approval for purchasing human bodies, human people, sentient beings, for use as you see fit. Ecclesiastes 2:7. I bought slaves, both men and women, and others were born into my household. So these slaves had had babies. I also owned large herds and flocks, more than any of the kings who had lived in Jerusalem before me. This is somebody they're bragging about. Man, I'm breeding these slaves over here, man. Come on now, I'm breeding slaves. This is a piece of cake. This is supposed to be a divine book authored by God himself. If you believe that, that's where you're going with everything. Let's read this. Exodus 21:20 through 21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their own property. Really? This is God talking. What is this foolishness Somebody come in my face and tell me that the creator of the universe made this statement, I'm gonna laugh and walk away. And yet, millions of people drop to their knees and pray for this stuff. Are you kidding me? What kind of fairy tales are we believing in? What kind of adults are falling for these fluffy stories? If a man walked up to you in your street right now and you and your family and told you something like this, you literally would turn and walk the other way laughing or either running in horror. And yet people are following this thing, and people have used that exact statement to promote and push slavery in the most recent era over black people for the last 400 years. And we still ain't all the way out of it yet, because we got economic slavery, we got the prison system slavery, we got the educational slavery. We're still in the matrix right now with the slavery system. We ain't all the way out of it yet. And we got the mental enslavement, which has really held us back even more for the longest period of time. That's gonna take more, maybe 15, 20 more generations to work out of our DNA and put us in a seriously bad spot. But that one verse I read you was the premise for the majority of the teachings in the slave churches, where the master would sit right there in the church with one person that he had ordained to be the pastor, because he can read, only one, and he's gonna read these specific scriptures, especially this one is mandatory reading. Mandatory reading. The slave Bible is in the Library of Congress. You can go check that out. Romans 14:9. For this very reason, Christ died and returned to life so that he might be the Lord of both dead and the living. So now we're going into where people are talking about this return of Jesus. But nowhere in the Bible does it say Jesus is coming back. It keeps mentioning Christ. Jesus didn't say he was going to return. He said the Christ would return. What is the Christ? When you look into, there's been many Christs on this planet. When you look into what a Christ is, it's a level of consciousness. You see, there's some good stuff in the Bible, but what they did was they took the good stuff and they overrode it with a lot of bad stuff, a lot of darkness, a lot of manipulation and agenda, and a lot of propaganda. You gotta be able to discern what's good.
Excuse me, what is your job?
Huh?
I mean, like, you're dressed really well and it looks like you make a lot of money.
And what's bad? What is being born again? Being born again is rising up to a higher level of consciousness and looking back on your previous thought process and realizing that you've grown consciously. That's being born again. Not having some pastor douse you in the ocean or throw you in a bathtub or splash water on your baby. Your baby don't even know what the hell's going on. Being born again is rising in consciousness. Christ's consciousness is the highest level. The ancient sages knew this. Jesus Christ was not the first Christ. There was many Christs before Yeshua the Christ. It's a level of thinking and understanding. It has nothing to do with this foolishness that you've been preached and taught. Heaven and hell is a state of mind, and these are your temples. You gotta call on the name of Jesus so that you can be saved, and you can be born again, and you can die and go to heaven. But then here's the other contradiction. If I'm believing and walking in Christ and been calling on the name of Jesus, I'm gonna be raptured up into heaven. I'm never gonna have to die. So am I gonna die or do I not gotta die? The Bible says you gotta die to begin to enter the gates. And then somewhere else it says you don't have to die to enter the gates. Well, which one is it? Which one is it? Well, let's take a look at that. The rapture doctrine. John Nelson Darby. He added that to the Bible in 1827. That's not too long ago. I mean, that's literally just a couple hundred years ago. The rapture doctrine was added to the Bible as a cliff note. Pastors saw it as a positive thing that can put fear into people and energize the people and can bring in a lot of money. So they made it part of the scripture, became part of the doctrine, but it was a cliff note originally by John Nelson Darby, 1827. There is no rapture. If you've been sitting around kicking your feet up, watching the world burn, thinking, oh, the infidels will be burning in this unlimited eternal fire, and I'm just gonna be swept away off this planet, so I'm not gonna do anything down here. I'm not gonna put any of my energy into these people. I'm just gonna ask for forgiveness and wait for this God to come sweep me away into this magical heaven. You missed the boat. You missed the message. You're so far off, you don't even know what is up and what is down. There's no rapture. There's no magical rapture coming to snatch your body, your spirit out of your body and suck it up into some magical heaven. It's not going to happen. Another man, M-A-N, human being, wrote that. Not the creator of the universe. Not the creator of the universe. And as I said before, my disclaimer, I believe that there's a God. I believe that there's a creator of the universe. This ain't it. the Gnostics knew that ain't it. 1827, a couple hundred years ago. When was hell added to the Bible? Oh, what do you mean? Hell was added to the Bible? What is he talking about? The lake of fire, the burning lake of fire, the eternal burning and suffering, purgatory. I'm gonna go there if I don't do this. That's why I gotta pretend like I love this stuff so I don't end up in this lake of fire. The fear is driving me to do this religion, and I'm not even aware of it. I'm just trying to save my ass. You know how many Christians come to me and tell me, I'm doing this just in case. The mission is to bring heaven to earth. You missed that message, didn't you? The mission is to do greater things than he. You missed that message, didn't you? You're supposed to even excel and exceed far past what Yeshua's achievements were on this planet, not in any kind of magical heaven, right here on this physical plane of existence. You're supposed to bring heaven to earth. Can you master that right here? Can you love your brother? Can you stop falling for divide and conquer? Can you get the hell out of polytricks? Can you stop falling for the foolishness and go take a trip towards spirituality and visit inner space so you can expand the outer space and find out who you truly are and the power that's truly inside of you, and find out that you are God walking in the flesh every single day, because the same divine spark that created this universe is inside of your body. What is holding us back from taking our birthright as claiming this planet as our own? Taking back control of this planet from the 100 families that control and run 8 billion people? What is stopping us from taking control of our reality and manifesting the life we want? Religion and polytricks. Those are the two things you guys got going on that are stopping complete advancement of the human race right now, today. Completely pushing separation, division, and racism, mental and physical enslavement. Those two things, religion and polytricks. The two most detrimental things ever put into place on this planet to literally hold mankind back. You remove those two things, we got 99% of our problems solved. I did a video, who's doing all the killing in the Bible? And you know what I found out during my research into that topic? It wasn't the devil. God had killed over 3 million people in the Bible, including his own son. The devil didn't kill anybody. This is crazy. He had killed over 3 million, plus his own son, and the devil didn't kill anybody. That's crazy. Like, think about that for a minute. Who was doing all the killing? But then I came across this verse, Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and I create the darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I doeth these things, saith the Lord. That's God speaking. Won't he do it? God is good all the time. I'm the creator of all the universe. I can literally think things into existence. I can breathe life into rocks and dirt and turn them into living beings. I got a good idea though. These humans are acting up a little bit. I don't know if I can just walk down there and give them a little knowledge, or should I use vitro fertilization into a woman's womb, make her pregnant, let her go 9 months and give birth to a demigod, half mine and half hers, have it grow up, and then when it's the right age, I'll sacrifice it and kill it and slaughter it in front of everybody so I can absolve these humans of their sins. Come on, man. Come on, wake up. I believe that there is actually a God, a programmer that has programmed this matrix that we're living in. We're living inside of a fractal holographic light matrix, a matrix of light. We are completely immersed in it, and thereby not allowing us to detect the fact that we are actually living in a matrix of light. We now know through quantum physics that even our bodies, which appear to be solid, are made of light. Man exists both as a being of light and also as of matter, according to actual peer-reviewed science, not according to Billy Carson. So you can't say, oh, this guy's just making this stuff up, because the quantum physics and the quantum mechanics proves that we are living in a creation. The method of the creation, which I have explained many times, is a fractal holographic matrix of light. We know that by taking an 8th dimensional quasi-crystal in a laboratory setting, which scientists have actually done, it will cast down, when you put it in a particular angle, it will cast down a 4th dimensional quasi-crystal. And when that's positioned in a specific angle, it casts down a sphere, which is the universe that we're living in. So we know that we're living in the shadow of a higher dimension. This is actually real science. Not emotions, not opinions, science.
The Bohemian Grove and other similar organizations have been criticized for their secretive nature and allegations of elitism, fascism, and occult practices. These organizations often have a long history of exclusivity, with membership limited to wealthy and influential individuals. Some critics argue that these organizations serve as a pipeline for young elites to develop connections and adopt ideologies that perpetuate their power and influence. Colleges and fraternities, in particular, have been accused of fostering fascist undertones and elitist attitudes. Examples of secretive rituals and organizations include Skull and Bones Society, Yale University, known for its cryptic symbols and alleged influence on U.S. politics. Scroll and Key Society, also Yale University, another secretive organization at Yale with rumored ties to the CIA. Bohemian Grove, a private campground in California where elite men gather for secretive rituals and networking. Bilderberg Group, an annual conference of influential individuals from politics, finance, and media, with criticism surrounding its lack of transparency. These organizations have been linked to various conspiracy theories, including claims of occult practices, fascist ideologies, and plots for global domination. While some of these claims are unfounded, they reflect a broader concern about the concentration of power and influence among a small elite. Critics argue that these secretive organizations perpetuate a culture of elitism where individuals prioritize their own interests and connections over the greater good. This can lead to a lack of accountability, corruption, and the erosion of democratic values. MKUltra was a CIA mind control program that operated from the 1950s to the 1970s. The program involved experimenting with various techniques, including hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and psychoactive drugs, to manipulate individuals' mental states and behaviors. MKUltra experiments. Some of the most disturbing aspects of MKUltra involve the use of unsuspecting civilians, including children, as test subjects. These experiments often involved administering psychoactive substances such as LSD, which is acid, for those who may not know, without the subject's knowledge or consent. Number 1, LSD and other psychoactive substances. The CIA experimented with various psychoactive substances, including LSD, to study their effects on human behavior. Number 2, hypnosis and mind control. Researchers attempted to induce hypnotic states in subjects to manipulate their memories, thoughts, and actions. Number 3, sensory deprivation. Subjects were isolated in sensory deprivation tanks to study the effects on their mental states. Number 4, radiation experiments. Some experiments involved exposing subjects to radiation to study its effects on the human health. That's just dark. Other government experiments. MKUltra was not an isolated incident. There have been numerous other government experiments and programs that have raised concerns about ethics, consent, and human rights. Number 1, the Tuskegee syphilis study. The U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study from 1932 to 1972 where African American men with syphilis were left untreated to study the disease's progression. That's just dark and twisted. Number 2, Guatemalan syphilis experiment. In the 1940s, the U.S. government conducted an experiment in Guatemala where people were intentionally infected with syphilis without their consent. That's just messed up. That's really messed up. It's like genocide. Number 3, Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the U.S. government recruited Nazi scientists, some of whom conducted inhumane experiments, to work on secret projects. Number 4, Project Shad. The U.S. military conducted secret experiments using biological and chemical agents on unsuspecting civilians and military personnel. Conclusion. The MKUltra program and other government experiments highlight the need for transparency, accountability, and ethics in scientific research. These incidents serve as a reminder of the importance of protecting human rights and ensuring that research subjects provide informed consent. Freemasonry and the Illuminati have complex and multifaceted histories with connections to various philosophical, symbolic, and ritualistic traditions. The esoteric practices and symbolism of ancient civilizations such as the Anunnaki and ancient Egyptians have been adopted and adapted. Remote viewing and higher consciousness are often used to gain power and control over others. The Illuminati and other secret societies have been associated with these practices and have often been shrouded in mystery and controversy. The modern transhumanist agenda, as advocated by Elon Musk, raises profound questions about the nature of human identity, existence, and potential risks over the benefits. Seems like there's more risks than benefits of emerging the technologies. I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this journey. Your engagement and support mean everything to me. If you'd like to support our mission further, please be sure to check out our upcoming merchandise with partial proceeds going to institutions like the NAACP and ACLU. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. If you can leave a comment, let me know what you think. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Check the like button and share this on your platforms if you could. Let's get the message out to the masses. And as always, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Thank you.